Morning. We are expecting William and Princess Kate to address the nation for the first time as king and queen. That will be at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Good morning. We anticipate that William and Princess Kate will speak to the country as king and queen for the first time. At 1 p.m., that is, Eastern Time. As Queen Catherine came onto the balcony of Buckingham Palace, the world watched in stunned stillness, her eyes glistening under the unexpected and heavy weight of her crown. It was a historic moment that combined quiet resolution with deep sorrow. A torrent of sicknesses had hit, and King Charles had bravely fought through them. However, his abrupt departure ultimately left a family permanently altered and a nation in mourning. With her steady yet impassioned voice, Queen Catherine's first coronation speech sparked a media frenzy never before seen. She talked of loss, legacy, and the enduring ties that will uphold the monarchy. Then came the words that were heard all over the world. Princess Anne will serve as our new ruler's right hand and pillar of support. What does this signify for the royal family's future? What impact had Charles's last conflicts made on this crucial moment? Stay tuned as we delve deeply into the speech's backstory, the tears, the victories, and the future. For additional insights into the royals' most poignant chapters, don't forget to subscribe. King Charles's reign started out promising, with a vision of a contemporary monarchy based on sustainability and service. However, beneath the surface, a number of health issues grew like clouds. It began quietly with complaints of exhaustion from his non-stop activity, but it took a sharp turn in early 2024 when a routine operation for an enlarged prostate turned up something much more sinister, an unidentified type of cancer. The palace provided snippets of his tenacity, showing how he carried on with his responsibilities despite his medical treatments, finding support from his family and the country. However, as 2025 approached, he experienced further problems, including side effects from continued treatments, brief hospital stays, and rumors of new illnesses, which were made worse by his history of COVID struggles and previous polo-related sporting injuries. He made an effort to persevere, enduring public appearances with that distinctive resolve. According to insiders, he confided in close advisors about his regrets, which included not only more general ones like incomplete environmental projects and family reconciliations, but also more personal ones like time wasted with grandchildren. Despite all efforts, the ailments come together and unexpectedly overpower his body. The world was left thinking about a monarch who gave all up until the very last, and the British people were shocked by his sudden death in the calm hours of a spring morning. The rise to prominence of Queen Catherine, the Princess of Wales at the time, was a mixture of grief and immediate need. Almost instantly, the media went into a frenzy. The sudden change was widely reported, and there was conjecture about how she would continue her father-in-law's legacy while pursuing her own goals. In the days that followed King Charles's passing, the United Kingdom clad itself in silence and darkness. Following the outpouring scene for Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, processions wound through London streets lined with flowers and tributes. Queen Catherine, calm despite her grief, stood with Prince William, now King Consort William, and their children, waving and thanking the well-wishers. It was an opportunity to consider Charles's contributions, his love of organic farming, his support of interfaith understanding, and his subtle modernizing of the monarchy. However, the coronation preparations quickened during the morning, bringing a modern urgency to an event steeped in centuries of history. As organizers worked on details to honor Charles, such as floral arrangements from his cherished Highgrove Gardens, Westminster Abbey was a hive of activity. Drawing on her years of public service, Queen Catherine, who is renowned for her composure under duress, threw herself into the rehearsal process. Her late-night perusal of historical writings was prompted by Queen Elizabeth II's 1953 coronation broadcast, in which the late Queen spoke of faith and solidarity, according to family friends. In order to acknowledge the abruptness of the transformation, Catherine wanted her speech to reaffirm that idea while adding a personal touch. The BBC and other international networks set up camp outside the palace as the day drew near, feverishly covering every detail. As commentators debated what tone the new queen would set, the fervor reached a crescendo. Would it be gloomy, optimistic, or a mix of the two? They had no idea that Princess Anne, a family pillar, would serve as the focal point of the emotional core. The streets of London were bustling with people holding Union Jacks and flags as Coronation Day broke clear and bright. In keeping with tradition, Queen Catherine arrived in the gold state coach. Her clothing, which has needlework influenced by Charles's love of nature, combines beauty and symbolism. The air within Westminster Abbey was filled with old rites, such as the crowning, the anointing, and the pledges taken before God and the nation, which were based on historical examples such as George VI's impassioned speech in 1937. Readings from environmental poets Charles loved were among the subtle contemporary touches added to Catherine's wedding. However, the gravity of the situation only became apparent as she stepped onto the throne, her hand steady on the scepter. Later, insiders revealed that there were silent tears shed behind the scenes. Charles would have smiled proudly, Catherine whispered to William. The Archbishop's remarks and hymns filled the monastery, reminding everyone of the monarchy's long history of service. A collective breath was held as the crown rested on her head, signaling the start of a new era amidst the echoes of the past. Drones buzzed overhead as the media recorded every angle, and analysts noted the calm that brought back memories of her early addresses, such as her first public address in 2012 at a children's hospice, where she spoke genuinely and uncomfortably about compassion. The stakes were much higher here, though, and as she got ready to stand on the balcony, the speech threatened to be an opportunity to establish the tone for her reign. With her family by her side, Queen Catherine stepped out onto the balcony of Buckingham Palace into a sea of faces, her voice echoing over the applause through microphones and international broadcasts. She opened with a moving ode to King Charles, recalling his struggles with causes near and dear to his heart, as well as with illness. The legacy of a man who sacrificed his life for our planet, our people, and our family humbles me as I stand here today. Her voice was firm but warm as she spoke. Despite the numerous ailments that struck him all at once, he persevered gracefully, determined not to cause us any anxiety. His unsaid but profoundly felt regrets serve as a reminder to all of us to treasure each moment. The audience became hushed as they took in the unvarnished honesty, a break from the predetermined formality. The line that sent shockwaves followed. "My dear Aunt Princess Anne will serve as our new ruler's right hand and pillar of support." It was an expression of cooperation, recognizing Anne's long-standing support of the monarchy. Analysis from the media was rife, with some describing it as a brilliant act of unity, and others speculating on how it might have resolved certain family conflicts. Catherine kept incorporating elements of continuity, showing how Anne's expertise would help her oversee the development of Charles's plan for a more condensed monarchy. Drawing from her own talks on mental health, where she highlighted resilience, she discussed personal experiences such as family get-togethers, where Charles's humor made difficult days easier. Although the speech was short, just under 10 minutes, it had a lasting effect, bringing to mind Elizabeth II's 1953 statement in which she vowed to serve for the rest of her life. The hysteria was in full flow as she ended with a call for national reconciliation to thunderous applause. For a long time, Princess Anne has been the royal family's unsung hero. She had more engagements than even the most committed person, according to her journal. With more than 200 appearances in recent years, she is known as the most tenacious royal and has stood by her brother, King Charles, through both charitable work and state visits. Following his 2024 cancer diagnosis, he discreetly stepped up, taking on additional responsibilities and providing confidential advice. According to insiders, she was the pillar Charles relied on when they had late-night conversations regarding sustainability and succession. With Queen Catherine's public support, Anne's function now solidifies as the right hand, a role that combines public face, advisor, and confidant. This connection was emphasized in the speech. Anne's wisdom and dedication developed over decades are praised by Catherine. Recall Anne's significant events, such as riding a horse to lead the parade during Charles's funeral, which represented her military connections and steadfast devotion. With profiles referring to her as the new power behind the throne, the media frenzy heightened this narrative. However, Anne maintains her groundedness, and her straightforward manner enhances Catherine's sympathetic demeanor. When combined, they offer a fusion of experience in fields like equestrian sports and agricultural issues, as well as tradition and modernity. Catherine's emphasis on early childhood and mental health resonates with me. Charles's regrets will be addressed by this alliance, which was formed out of loss and promises to stabilize the reign by ensuring that his plans are carried out through teamwork. The royal family's anguish was reflected in intimate moments that took place behind the palace walls. Ever the loving mother, Queen Catherine juggled her new responsibilities with providing consolation to Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. According to close sources, she found strength in William's encouragement of their collaboration, reiterating the connection. She talked about vulnerability in previous talks, such as her 2023 World Mental Health Day lecture. Charles's untimely death from a combination of ailments left unresolved regrets. More time to say farewell is something that family members hope for. An important part of this was Princess Anne, who used stories from her relationship with Charles as a sibling to lighten the mood at family dinners. The coronation speech turned into a therapeutic release. Catherine acknowledged that Anne had been a mental figure since joining the family, making her remarks about her not only strategic, but also intensely personal. Snippets of this emotion were captured by the media, such as Catherine's subtly conveying glance at Anne on the balcony. Family dynamics were the subject of conjecture during the hysteria. Positive accounts of solidarity, however, surfaced, including visits to Charles's favorite gardens, where people planted trees in his honor. Historical changes such as Elizabeth II's ascent after the death of Georges, when she was youthful and determined, are reflected in this transition from private grieving to public resolve. It represents Catherine's transition from Duchess to Queen. Her speech serves as a link between future aspirations and previous suffering. The speech Queen Catherine gave at her coronation was by no means spontaneous. It was the culmination of weeks of painstaking preparation, fusing her genuine sincerity with her developing public character. Since the beginning of her royal career, Catherine has been recognized for her speaking style, which has developed considerably over time and emphasizes warmth, relatability, and emotional depth. She acknowledged being nervous when giving public speeches early on, but after putting in a lot of work, including reportedly taking elocution lessons to improve her diction, she became a self-assured speaker whose voice now has a polished yet friendly tone. Speech specialists have taken note of this change, noting how her accent has organically developed to sound even more sophisticated and comparing it to the legendary communicators of the royal family. That foundation served as the basis for Catherine's rigorous coronation preparation, which involved writing several drafts to make sure every word struck a chord both nationally and personally. Her distinctive approach, which has been demonstrated in previous milestones, is clear in the way she fills remarks with sincere empathy. Similar to her 2017 speech at the opening of the Out of the Blue art exhibition, in which she emphasized the role of creativity in mental health recovery, advisors played a crucial role by drawing on historical precedents like Queen Elizabeth II's famous 1953 coronation broadcast, which focused on themes of gratitude, duty, and moving forward. Her speech struck a deep chord with audiences by combining vulnerability and encouragement. In order to respect tradition and make it completely her own, Catherine replicated forward-looking vision features. She included intimate experiences from her time helping King Charles through his treatments, actual quotes from his works on environmental stewardship taken from his books like Harmony, and recollections of peaceful family times when his wisdom was evident despite his suffering. These weren't merely decorations. By promising to continue working on his causes, they helped to humanize the monarchy and allay the sorrows he left behind. From her hesitant beginnings, Catherine's tone has seen a dramatic transformation. Remember her first royal speech? It was given in March 2012 at the opening of the Treehouse Children's Hospice in Ipswich. She read aloud from notes with trepidation to avoid making any mistakes and gave a brief, straightforward message of gratitude. Experts in body language at the time identified tiny indicators of nervousness, such as clenched hands or short pauses. Today, however, she has perfected a calm, assured style, as demonstrated by her 2023 World Mental Health Day speech, in which she freely discussed vulnerability. Princess Anne provided advice on highlighting continuity and historical linkages, drawing from her own decades of public service as the coronation rehearsals turned into a family event. William, the king consort, concentrated on maintaining emotional authenticity, making sure the speech didn't seem like practiced rhetoric, but rather genuine and unfiltered. Close assistants stated that Catherine practiced late at night in front of mirrors, modifying her wording to elicit shared healing and timing her pauses for emphasis. The outcome was a speech that avoided excessively formal pomp in favor of a realistic narrative that captivated listeners as though they were having a conversation over tea. Praise from the media exploded, adding to the current craze as they hailed her as a contemporary queen who faces both personal and national remorse head-on. She promised to pursue her unfulfilled goals of a greener world with fresh zest, much like Charles did. It was no accident that she gave Princess Anne a pointed nod. It highlighted a network of allies created to counteract the loneliness that comes with being a member of the royal family, exhibiting a spirit of cooperation that will likely define her time. This strategy not only respected Charles's legacy, but also established a daring standard for her rule. One where speeches demonstrate that genuine leadership comes from the heart and motivate group action, empathy, and national unity during times of transformation. When royal observers consider this crucial speech, it is evident that Catherine's preparation has transformed her from a timid duchess into a queen whose words will be remembered for many generations. The monarchy enters a new era influenced by Catherine's vision and Charles's legacy as the reverberations of Queen Catherine's speech diminish. Perhaps extending Catherine's early childhood efforts to incorporate family resilience, his struggles with illnesses serve as a reminder of human frailty, leading to palace programs on health awareness. From promoting organic farming at High Grove House to starting the Sustainable Markets Program and the Terra Carta in 2021, Charles's lifelong commitment to environmental causes makes a lasting impression. His love for the environment will live on even after his death thanks to these initiatives to accelerate global sustainability through private sector action, which now serve as inspiration for current palace programs like supporting renewable energy and biodiversity protection. Drawing on her personal experiences as a mother, Catherine expands on this by incorporating health-related themes into her 2023 flagship campaign, which highlights the importance of the first 5 years of life for both mental and physical health. This project, supported by the Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood, aims to change public perceptions through education and research that may result in new laws pertaining to child development and parental support. Stability is guaranteed by Princess Anne's prominent position. New objectives are complemented by her experience in patronages such as Save the Children, of which she has been president since 1970, and the Olympics, where she is president of the British Olympic Association. Anne is in a unique position to lead sports and humanitarian endeavors because of her involvement with more than 300 charities, including the Riding for the Disabled Association, and her past as an Olympic equestrian contender. Her straightforward style, developed over decades of service, including trips abroad and support for organizations like World Horse Welfare, will guide joint endeavors by fusing Catherine's emphasis on youngsters with Charles's environmental philosophy. Together, they might lead initiatives that promote a comprehensive approach to royal giving, such as sustainable community gardens for families, or increased mental health supports for young athletes. With polls indicating strong support for Catherine's friendly attitude, which is reminiscent of her Heads Together mental health campaign in 2016, which she co-founded to lessen stigma and encourage early intervention, the media frenzy has changed, from shock to hope. According to recent studies, more than 70% of the people have a positive opinion of her reign and praise her focus on relatable topics, such as maternal mental health through collaborations with the Maternal Mental Health Alliance. Continuing the Terra Carta promises for net zero transitions and sponsoring international awards for eco-innovators in his honor are only two examples of how regrets from Charles's time, such as unmet environmental goals, are now driving action, and cooperative efforts with a leading sustainability push. Plans for additional public unification events in Charles's honor, such as yearly tree planting ceremonies at Highgrove or interfaith discussions, also improved family dynamics. In order to continue the tradition, he promoted enlisting younger royals like Prince George and Princess Charlotte. In the same way that her address combined loss and optimism, Catherine's reign pledges struck a balance between tradition and innovation, preserving ceremonial obligations while introducing contemporary features like digital health platforms from her initiative for psychologically healthy schools. Her dedication to preventative care may result in groundbreaking partnerships with specialists from Harvard's Center on the Developing Child as she navigates this new chapter, increasing her impact internationally. With Anne as her unwavering ally, the monarchy appears poised to transform into a symbol of resiliency and advancement, taking on today's issues head-on. Which aspect of Queen Catherine's speech was your favorite? For more information on how the royals' narrative is developing, leave a comment and subscribe.